At 12 years old, he joined a cult.
But yeah, it was an organization. It wasn't a church. So there were these compounds all over the country.
With no access to the internet, TV, or the outside world.
We had to throw away like a lot of music, a lot of movies that we had, wasn't allowed to watch TV anymore.
He was brainwashed for the next 6 years of his life.
So he was out there basically telling people, hey, if your kids are playing with Cabbage Patch dolls, there's a good chance that they are demon possessed.
And today, we're here to talk to him to learn the darkest secrets of the shiny happy people cult.
Our Bill Gothard, he is the prophet. I pulled the window AC unit out and tried to kick out the grate so that I could escape down the side of the building.
Please welcome Davey Jackson. Well, yeah, that mic's a little...
No, we're good. No, I got it.
Well, dude, I appreciate you doing this. I do want to say, like, I was thinking about it when I was prepping the questions and all. I was like, oh, this is so fascinating and like wild. And then I was like, wait a second, this is actually like his life that he like. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just like more so like thanks for being open.
Yeah,
to
dude.
Sharing it, because
I've talked about it so much, man. On stage, off stage, therapy, all that fun stuff. That it feels weird talking about it sometimes. So there's two aspects of why it feels weird. Number one, like that people seem interested by it. I don't know. It's just my life. That's just how I grew up.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of weirdness to it, but also the weirdness of, fuck, did I really go through that? Did that really happen to me?
Because it's so far.
It's so far removed, but also some of it is so crazy.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, not to this level, but just like, even like mental health, like when my anxiety was so bad that I couldn't go to a coffee shop.
Wait, you have anxiety, bro?
Yeah, bro.
What a pussy. I'm kidding. No, mental health is very important. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so like I can't even remember what that felt like the feeling of it being that bad.
Of like just being crippled by your own fear, anxiety, depression.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, it can't.
No,
so,
I hear you.
So, yeah, let's just start with this, man. Well, first of all, you were raised in a cult, born in a cult? What was it?
I was not born into it.
Okay.
My family didn't join the cult that we were in until I want to say I was like 12 years old. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. There's something that a lot of people refer to as trauma brain.
Yeah.
Like when you've been through it, you kind of understand, like, there's so much I don't remember. Like, there's huge chunks of my life that I have just very, very faint recollections of.
That's the drugs,
strange. Yeah. Some of that might be the drugs. Yeah. So maybe trauma brain and drug brain, but it's all trauma, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like about 12 years old that they joined this cult. So I didn't grow up in the cult per se, but my family was already very much aligned with the ideologies of the cult that we ultimately joined.
So beforehand.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Since I was a baby. It's just this very Christian fundamental ideology.
Yeah.
Extremely conservative. When we joined the cult, like some stuff definitely changed, but there was some stuff that was just like standard, business as usual. Like before we joined the cult, my mom would still wear pants. After we joined the cult, no more pants. They wore dresses.
Okay.
I don't want to say that my mom went around just.
I was gonna say, man,
pretty hot. But no. Everyone, all women wore dresses. That was like part of being in this cult. We had to throw away like a lot of music, a lot of movies that we had. Wasn't allowed to watch TV anymore, really.
Yeah.
So it was just this very isolated, restrictive lifestyle. Even though it was already isolated and restrictive to a degree, it became even more so once we joined the cult.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so the cult that you joined is the shiny happy people.
Yeah.
Give us the overview of it.
Dude, it's so weird. I struggled for the longest time explaining this cult. And then the documentary came out and I was like, oh, there you go. Just watch that. That's how I grew up.
Well, dude, I watched it and I still...
You still don't get it, right?
Still don't
because
get
it's
it.
so weird. Because it's not a church. When people think of cults, right, they think of the classics, like Waco,
Yes.
right? David Koresh. That was everyone's traditional understanding of a cult. Oh, yeah, everyone lives on a compound.
Right.
There's probably like some polygamy stuff going on. People are getting molested or whatever. I mean, I'm sure people got molested in my cult. I personally did not, that I recall.
Yeah.
Maybe Maybe the drugs wiped out that memory too. Who knows? But yeah, it was an organization. It wasn't a church. It was this gigantic organization that operated all over the world. And it was specifically geared towards these very fundamental Christian homeschoolers specifically. It started way back in the 70s when the cult leader, this guy named Bill Gothard, started doing these seminars all over the country, right? And they were very popular, very heavily attended. It kind of aligned itself with a return to Christian values, the satanic panic of the 80s. So he was out there basically telling people, hey, if your kids are playing with Cabbage Patch dolls, there's a good chance that they are demon possessed. And so I'm going to give you my steps, my design for raising a godly family so that you're protected from the devil. That was his whole thing, right? Like, your family is your protection from the devil. And the family has to be structured in a certain way so that you get the full effect of the protection, right? So it's God, it's the church, it's the father, right? And the father he's the shot caller, right? He's telling you exactly what you need to do as informed by God. So he's basically your conduit to what God wants you to do, the dad, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, they talk about in the documentary how each family was kind of set up as its own mini cult. And it's so true. It's so incredibly true, because whatever your parents decided, however strict they wanted to be, was basically just what you had to live with. And it was all being informed by Bill Gothard's Shiny Happy People cult, right? He was producing all the curriculum, all of the literature that would say, here's the rules that you got to follow, right? So use our curriculum, use our wisdom booklets for your homeschooling, and that's how you teach your kids. Come to our seminars. Like, you attend our seminars, we'll give you all the information that you need for how to run your little home cult. And then you can come to our facilities at time for training programs, and we'll indoctrinate you and brainwash you even more. And so there were these compounds all over the country by the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, they had them in, their headquarters was right outside of Chicago, Illinois. Mm-hmm. But they had compounds in Indianapolis, Oklahoma, Dallas, Arkansas, Michigan, Russia, Mexico.
So it was worldwide.
It was all over the place. Australia was another big one. I mean, yeah, it was everywhere, dude. It was crazy. The way that they built this enterprise was actually, like, really, really impressive.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking, is like, maybe you're just bad at sales, but, like, I don't think I'd join if that was the pitch. Like, I don't think I'd be jumping.
Yeah, but do you have kids that you're worried about going to hell?
No.
See, that's why.
So,
you
like,
have to have kids that you're worried might go to hell.
So how does someone get approached even?
I mean, it was really like kind of an evangelistic process, I think, is the easiest way to describe it. So my family was approached by another family that said, hey, we went to this guy's seminar. It was really good. It basically reinforced all our beliefs about homeschooling and why we should protect our kids from the world. And, you know, he's got these 7 steps and he's got this umbrella of authority, and we think you should check it out. So my parents went to a seminar. They bought in hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And then, you know, started ordering their books and literature, and that's how we got involved. But you're right. It's not like I'll make you wealthy.
Yeah.
Right? You can join my pyramid scheme. Right? Everyone gets rich. No, it was literally spend your money so that you can be a part of an organization that believes the same way you do, and will reinforce all the craziness that you already believe.
So they get people that are almost there.
Yeah.
And then they take them to the next level.
And then they just take them as far as they'll go. Yeah, but I mean, it's what's really wild is how much people were paying to be a part of this program. Mm. You know, it's so Mormonism, I think, is a pretty good parallel here. I mean, those people are giving away thousands of dollars every year to the church, and really getting nothing in return other than validation for what they believe. That's really all they're getting. And assurances that, hey, don't worry, all your treasures being stored up in heaven. You've got mansions with Jesus in heaven. And that's kind of like the pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, for someone like you or someone like me, if someone, you know, if a guy knocked on my door and was like, hey, if you give me a bunch of money, I'm going to make you feel good about your religious beliefs and reinforce that you're going to have a better afterlife than everyone else. Like,
yeah.
what? No, I'm good.
So Okay, so you're 12 years old, you enter this world. First of all, is there like a ceremony? Is there
That's a great question.
like
No.
what makes you in the cult?
Other than throwing away all our movies and not being able to listen to regular music anymore, no, there was no
So you like
initiation.
light some candles and then you
Yeah,
throw
we didn't
away
do a
the
seance
movies.
or anything like that. None of my siblings had to get sacrificed. Everyone's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was. It really is very subtle. It was new stuff that we started doing at home. Like every morning we would get up and we would read out of the Bible in the morning, and it was always out of the Psalms and one proverb. We would read these Bible chapters every single morning. We started incorporating these wisdom booklets into our classroom time, homeschool classroom time, right? I never went to a public school. So for me, it was just like, oh, okay, we're just doing something a little different now.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't have we're pulling you out of public school, we're homeschooling you now and indoctrinating you.
That would be a hard switch.
That would be crazy. And there are people that went through that. There's definitely families that did that, like decided, okay, we've been to this basic seminar. Bill Gothard, he is the prophet, right? And so now we're going to pull our kids out of school and start home. I didn't have that experience at all, but there definitely were families that went through that, which is wild.
So how easy is it to access Bill Gothard? Like, have you met him? Is that you have?
Yeah. So Bill Gothard, he really was revered by everyone in the cult. No one called him Bill. They all called him Mr. Gothard. Okay. That's how you referred to him, Mr. Gothard. And he was a saint, essentially, in evangelical Christianity. And in this movement, he was the guy, right? He was top dog. Everyone reported to him. He would have these revelations every year. Like he'd go off to a cabin in the wilderness and fast for, I can't remember how many days he would fast for, but while he was fasting, he would have these revelations, and then they would publish new material and, you know, just a bunch of new. You think
he actually did it?
I don't know, man. Knowing him, yeah, he probably did. Okay. I bet he was cheating a little bit. But I think he actually would. No, I think he would probably like eat candy and drink Dr. Pepper, right? Like, okay, I'm going to fast from normal food, but I'm still going to eat my candy and drink my Dr. Pepper because he was apparently obsessed with Dr. Pepper.
Gotcha.
Shout out Dr. Pepper.
Shout out Dr. P.
Cult leaders love you.
23.
But yeah, so he was, I mean, he was looked at as a prophet for sure. And as far as accessibility, I mean, he had a very close inner circle. But as you see in the documentary, he surrounded himself with very young women, right. Some of them underage, and those were like kind of his assistants that he would bring to headquarters in Chicago, Illinois, and he always was surrounded by this. I mean, allegedly he wasn't having sexual relationships with, but if you saw him walking around, it was just like, oh, he's got a harem. That's crazy, and they all looked the same. They had this big poofy curly hair. They all wore these skirts and usually like a vest with a blouse. It was very, very strange.
So did like every girl want to be that girl?
Oh yeah.
So it was something.
Yes. If you were picked by Mr. Gothard, I mean, that was a big deal, right? I don't think it was necessarily every girl would sit at home and pray for the day that they could move to headquarters and, be part of his inner circle necessarily. But yeah, if you got picked for that, it was very much an honor.
So like a big thing in the cult was purity and order. Those were kind of the two things, right?
Yeah, I would say purity and authority.
Authority.
Definitely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the purity thing, what are they teaching you as a, you entered at the wrong time, dude.
I really did, but like right before puberty, right before it, which was a nightmare, by the way. I never got the sex talk at all. I didn't know what it was. I had ideas about what it was, but I didn't. It was so bizarre, man. Because the answer was, and this might not have been the same for every family, but for my family, the answer was, we just don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. We just don't. We don't look at anything that could potentially be a temptation, right? And that was the big push in the cult was all the women dress a certain way so that they don't look provocative at all, and men are just supposed to practice absolute purity. That includes everything. So I remember my mom like even throwing away not just like Victoria's Secret magazines that would get mailed to the house, but I mean like J.C. Penney magazines and stuff too, because there were women in bras and panties.
Yeah.
And that could potentially be a temptation, which they were. Sorry, Mom. They totally were. If I got my hands on one of those things first before she was able to throw it away, buddy. Oh yeah. I think that's like, I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like, I don't really have a thing for like fancy lingerie or dressing up or any of that kind of stuff. And I think it's because like all I grew up with, the only thing I had access to was just women in bikinis and
dude, now that I've moved to Texas,
panties,
I've realized that's still all you have.
What do you mean?
With these website
blockers?
blockers?
The website shutdowns. Yeah, there's still. We'll talk offline because I've got some tips on that one. If you're struggling right now, yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, but honestly, like this really does help preserve our purity. You know what I mean? Because we can't.
Yeah.
The hub is no longer accessible.
Yeah. So probably like 99% of my listeners don't live in Texas. So yeah.
Oh, really?
The hub is blocked here.
The hub is blocked here, along with most other hub adjacent sites. But there's at least one that I know of that's still accessible without having to use a VPN.
Okay, so you're a horny 12-year-old
Jesus,
in the cult. When are you starting to realize, like, I could see this being a while because you don't really have access to TV or internet, right?
No.
So no TV, no internet. You're being homeschooled. You're probably interacting with other cult members.
Yeah.
When are you like, wait a second, this is a little strange.
This is weird, right? Yeah. So, and even a step further, I mean, I wasn't allowed to have a cell phone. I wasn't allowed to get my driver's license until I was 18.
Damn.
So it was literally just full monitorization. Is that a word?
We'll use it.
I was monitored all the time, right? I wasn't allowed to sleep over anywhere. I wasn't allowed to go to parties. The only interaction I had outside my family really was other homeschool groups sometimes, and primarily church. And for a long time, my family was actually in a home church. So we were doing church out of our house with other cult families. Yeah, bizarre. But at some point, I can't remember how old I was. I think it was probably like when I was like 14, maybe 15, we did start going to a regular church. And then I was able to meet people that weren't in the cult, that were normal as a a Christian can be. No disrespect to Christians. I still identify as Christian. I don't know. But so
save it.
That's where please don't hate me. I just want you to like me. No, we started going to that church around 14 or 15. And when I was 16, I was such an awkward, ignorant, naive kid, right?
Yeah, you're homeschooled and in a cult, bro.
Dude, I knew nothing about anything. I wasn't allowed to listen to
be super
secular
smooth.
music. Yeah, I was only allowed to listen to classical music and not even Christian music, like Christian rock, like DC. I don't know how Christian you grew up, but like not at all.
We dabbled.
You dabbled?
We did enough to like be okay in the small town that we grew up in.
Yeah, try that in a small town, buddy. But I didn't have any idea. Cultural references were completely beyond me.
Yeah.
Pop culture did not exist for me. Like, not even being able to listen to Christian rock, which isn't even really rock music, like nothing, dude. And so, yeah, I was just a weirdo. I was a fucking weirdo. But I started going to this church, started noticing like, oh, there's life outside of this cult, right?
Yeah.
There is more to it than what I've been exposed to. And then I met a girl when I was 16 years old at church. I still don't know how it happened because I was so weird and awkward. And she was like super popular. She was the head cheerleader at her high school.
She went to another school.
Yeah. She went to the same church, bro. But yeah, like we started hanging out. And in my family, in the cult, you were not allowed to have a girlfriend or boyfriend. You weren't even allowed to date. You had to do courtship. And courtship is this weird thing, right? It's another thing. It's another aspect of purity culture. It's basically just arranged marriage for fundamental Christians, right? So you're not necessarily picking your boyfriend or girlfriend. It's your parents. You might have someone you're interested in, but your parents have to approve that person and their parents have to approve that person. And then you go on chaperoned dates.
Oh,
yeah.
a teenage dream.
Oh, just so fun, bro. But yeah, you go on these chaperoned dates and the intent is not, hey, we're getting to know each other. We're finding out if we're compatible. We're enjoying we're having fun, right? No, it's, you are doing this with the intent of getting married. Like that is why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just this really bizarre process.
So
right?
what questions do you ask?
I don't know.
Is it like an interview? Like are the two kids talking or the?
I mean, they do, but with family members present.
Dude, I am not homeschooled and grew up fairly normal, and I would be shitting myself at 16, 17 if I had to go on a date with my parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and I mean, think about like just how awkward that would feel. You're not allowed to touch. You're not allowed to kiss. You're not even allowed to hold hands. So it's basically just this completely sterile interaction the whole time in preparation to get married. So, I mean, dude, imagine like first night alone and you're just like, oh, we can touch now. So your first kiss was supposed to be saved for marriage. Like you may kiss the bride is your first kiss.
Dude, what if they got like thick tongue or something? Or yeah.
Oh, what if they've just got like a disgusting or small or large? We don't know, right?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Are you talking from a girl's perspective?
Either way, honestly, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many unanswered questions there. You don't even, growing up in purity culture, you don't even know what you're doing in bed.
Right.
You have no idea. So yeah, it's so bizarre.
So what about the 16-year-old again? Or you?
Whoa, easy, bro. What about this 16-year-old? I didn't know it was this kind of podcast.
Good thing I'm doing the editing.
Yeah, right.
I'm doing the editing.
You're gonna take that right out.
You said you went to church and met a girl.
Yeah, so I was supposed to only be practicing courtship, right? But I met this girl, and I don't know. It was just like, I want to have a girlfriend. You know, I don't want and I don't want to have to tell my parents about this. I want to be able to have a relationship with someone. I want to be able to make out and, do all the stuff, right? And so I kept it a secret from my parents, and she also understood that it had to be a secret.
Yeah.
But they found out eventually, right? I'm 16 years old. This is my first girlfriend. This is the be all end all for me, and this is the love of my life, obviously, right? So when they found out, the instant reaction was, oh, this is not going to happen any longer. You are not allowed to have a girlfriend. By having a girlfriend, the verbatim quote was, you're on the road to hell. So, I mean, it was a very extreme reaction. And, the fundamental Christianity, it's just an extremist form of religion, right? And so there are extreme actions, extreme statements. And my parents at that point decided, we got to get him away from these worldly influences, away from this evil, right? So at that point, we moved from Houston, Texas, where I lived at the time, all the way up to Connecticut in New England. 2,000 miles away.
The family moved.
The whole family moved. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
You fucked the whole family up, bro.
Yeah, everyone suffered for my sin. But yeah, we moved away. And the other thing that they did, because I was like the perfect kid up until that point. Really. I mean, I was a really good kid. This was the first sign of like rebellion against all of the indoctrination and teaching that I had grown up with. And so their reaction was, we're going to move, number one. Number two, we are sending you away to one of the compounds where you will essentially be reprogrammed. Now,
is that like the language they use?
No, that's not what they said.
Okay.
But that's what happened.
Yeah.
They said that they were sending me away really just to get more teaching, to learn how to be a better Christian, essentially. Like I needed to
Going to vacation Bible school.
yeah, sure.
For the bad
Why not?
kids.
Yeah, it wasn't a rehab program per se because I wasn't doing drugs or anything. But that's essentially the way it was set up, was as an extreme rehabilitation program.
Okay.
So behavioral rehab is what it was.
So you get there. What's that like?
Dude, that whole experience was so intense. So the compound that I was sent to was a place in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Indianapolis Training Center. They called all their compounds training centers. It was an old hotel that they had converted. So there were all these dorm rooms. There were big conference rooms where they would do, seminars. There was a big dining hall where everyone in the compound would eat together for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The group that I was a part of, Indianapolis was already like where the bad people got sent, right?
Okay.
Like it was the troubled youth center.
For all the shiny happy.
For the shiny happy people cult, right?
Yeah.
The program that I was in was for the worst of the worst, right? So this was basically like juvenile detention for cult kids.
So the worst of the worst is having a girlfriend.
Is having a girlfriend,
They're
bro.
like, code red.
Hold the phone. Whoa. There's some shenanigans going on. Yeah, having a girlfriend was essentially equivalent of armed robbery and shooting dope. Like that's essentially how we were treated.
Like if you were to like zoom out, is that about what they would compare it to?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not being dramatic.
No, not at all. Because the program that I was in, so there were the kids in the cult that were, sent to this program. But they also, the cult had partnered with the city of Indianapolis to bring in some of their troubled youths. Yeah. So we had legitimately guys that had committed armed robbery, grand theft auto, larceny. Like they're all in this program together. All of us are in this program together. It was bizarre, dude, because I'd never done anything bad, and I've got like a legitimate gang member that I'm living with now. No, it was kind of cool actually. I was just like, oh, this is nice. I've got some street cred now. But yeah, so I was supposed to be there. I can't remember how long the full program was supposed to be. I ended up getting sent home after 6 weeks or 7 weeks. I ended up getting sent home after 7 weeks. They initially wanted to keep me for longer and send me to an even more intensive program. But there were a series of events that led to Bill Gothard actually deciding I just needed to go home.
So all right, so we're talking thousands of people in this cult, right?
Oh yeah. Thousands of people all over the world though.
But does he 10,000, 20,000?
Dude, I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I mean, at any given time, there were probably hundreds of thousands of people.
But like you think he would like know your name?
If you asked him now?
Well, I'm more so just thinking like him making the call on you.
No, I think our program
Davey?
leader probably shared with him his concerns.
Gotcha.
And then he made a decision from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was necessarily monitoring me per se. I don't even know, because Mr. Gothard didn't live at the Indianapolis Training Center. He lived at the Chicago headquarters training center, right?
Okay.
So I don't know if he flew into Indianapolis specifically because of the uproar that I had caused, or if he just happened to be there, they got his opinion on it, and he was like, yeah, send him home.
So, okay, maybe I'm not understanding how big of a deal this is.
Yeah.
Like, was everyone like talking about it in the church? So you are one of the only ones that actually did this. In my head, I'm like, well, every kid's doing it.
As far as having a girlfriend?
Yeah.
I mean, the other people in my church didn't care. They didn't. I mean, because they weren't in the cult.
Right.
This wasn't a cult church.
Or I might have said church in the cult. Like,
yeah. I mean, anyone would have like heard my story and been like, oh yeah, he's rebellious, he's sinning, he's bad. He's bad for sure. Yeah, you weren't allowed to do that.
Do you keep in touch with anyone from the cult that got out or anything?
Yeah, I sure do.
What do they share stories of things like this, or are they like, oh no, I didn't have a girlfriend?
Some of them yes, and some of them no. Okay. So one of my good friends, he's actually he was the co-host on a series that I did about the Shiny Happy People cult on my channel. And he was by the book, followed the letter of the law, aside from watching secular movies and TV and stuff and music. But no, he didn't have a girlfriend while he was in. Very much towed the line. And I think that was probably more just he didn't want to get in trouble. So there were people like him that just didn't want to get in trouble, just wanted to follow the rules, lay low, stay under the radar. Me, I was just like, I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
Like I want to try that. I want to experience life, so I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely was looked at as a problem person. Right, a problem child.
So you for real have street cred now. You weren't just joking.
Cult street cred, dude. I was like kingpin shit, bro. Anyone else looking at me would have been like, he what?
Yeah.
Well, he kissed his high school girlfriend, and that's what he's going to behavioral rehab for. That's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, man. So Indianapolis was. That was a wild experience in and of itself. I mean, I was locked in solitary confinement for a week.
Gee, did you do something to get into that?
They couldn't prove that I did anything. That was part of the problem. Is there was never any. So basically, what happened was, what had happened was, so the director of that training center, he and his family lived there at Indianapolis, obviously, and he had 2 daughters. And there was some fraternization that happened with his daughters that nobody could verify. It happened. It happened. But no one was able to prove anything. There were just suspicions.
Yeah.
And so as part of those suspicions, I was sent to solitary confinement for a week, locked in there. How
many hours a day?
24. I didn't leave. I didn't have any. The only human contact I had is when they would drop off a meal.
Dude, you're the second person. Last week we had a guy on that was in solitary confinement. He went to one of those like wilderness camps where they kidnap you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, like the Cross Creek Academy shit.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in solitary confinement, and I was like, "What was it like?" And he said, the first thing he says is, "I learned how to juggle."
I learned how to juggle?
I was like, "What?"
What was he juggling?
Ping pong balls.
Oh, we didn't have ping pong balls.
So what? Yeah,
I had a Bible. I had a Bible. That was it. There was a bed. There was a nightstand. There was a lamp. There was a Bible, and there was a bathroom in there. Which, in retrospect, is just like, why would you, if you're going to lock a kid in solitary confinement, the last thing they need to have access to is like a shower curtain and stuff. Actually, there wasn't a shower curtain, but I mean, you can fill a tub with water and do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know? I tried to kick I pulled the window AC unit out and tried to kick out the grate so that I could escape down the side of the building. But I didn't have anything to escape with, so I just broke my AC and froze in that room. Yeah. Another dude actually did escape out of his prayer room. That was insane, dude. I wasn't there. Well, I was there, but I didn't see the aftermath of it. He busted through a wall, booby trapped the handle of his door so that if they tried to come in the room, it would give him a little zap. Not a little zap, a big zap.
No shit.
Busted through the wall, broke out another door, and they caught him. He escaped out of the training center.
Yeah.
And they finally found him in downtown Indianapolis, which is not a safe city at all, by the way. But they found him in the middle of downtown Indianapolis rollerblading towards the train station.
So this is, holy shit.
Yeah.
So like, was there barbed wire around with fencing around the, so if you could get out,
if you were out, you were out. Yeah.
Okay.
But they had their security teams though.
Okay.
And they would send them after you, and I mean, they patrolled and stuff. I don't know what their camera situation was. I know they had cameras. I just don't necessarily know. They weren't in the they weren't in the stairwells. I can tell you that. But yeah, so I mean, he had busted out. I don't know. I wanted to get out of solitary confinement, obviously, but I wasn't going to try to break through walls. I knew they'd have to let me out eventually. So it was really just like bide my time in there. But at 16 years old, locked in a room by yourself 24 hours a day, I mean, you start to go a little crazy.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you have any hallucinations? Did you have any, really?
Yeah. It felt like forever. You lose track of time, even though there was a window and I could see the sun going up and going down. I didn't know how many days I'd been in there. I'd like pulled the mattress off my bed and was like doing backflips in the room. Just anything to occupy the time, push-ups, sit-ups, anything but read the Bible, because that's the only thing that left in there. And I was just like, I'll be damned.
So you're starting to get a little rebellious at this.
Yeah, pretty resentful at that point. Yeah, like I'm locked in here and there's nothing that you can prove that I actually did. It's all a hunch.
Dude, you sound so guilty. You're like,
oh, I was so guilty, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
You're literally still hanging on to. You can't prove it.
Yeah. Your Honor, they have no evidence. But yeah, no, I definitely went crazy in there for sure.
That's scary.
And still, like, so I actually went back to the compound earlier this year. I was doing a show in Indianapolis at the Helium Comedy Club. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to be in Indianapolis anyway. I might as well go back to the compound and see if it's still there. And it is still there. It's not a compound anymore. Now it's a culinary community college.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
Much better.
But I didn't have any kind of emotional reaction, like walking through the building, until I went around behind the building and looked up at the windows where the prayer rooms were. That's what they call the solitary confinement, by the way.
Prayer rooms?
Prayer rooms. Yeah.
So they can tell your parents he's staying in prayer rooms.
Yeah, he's spending some time with the Lord. Yeah. But when I saw those windows, that's when I was just like, ugh, like, it's intense. You know what I mean? Just remembering that experience. Because there's a lot that I blocked out anyway.
Yeah.
You know? And quite honestly, like, the experience that I had in this by the way, it was called Life Focus. Life Focus was the name of the program.
They can name some shit.
Dude, they've got some great names, honestly. Yeah. Their military, the cult had like a paramilitary organization as well. They didn't have weapons. It was like the nerdiest, dumbest version of a paramilitary you can have. Because no weapons. You just went for really long runs. They basically put you through basic training without any kind of
like
weapons training whatsoever, or even hand-to-hand combat.
The plan was just to fucking run.
And sit-ups and push-ups and pull-ups and memorizing Bible verses. Yeah.
Okay.
Dumb. Super dumb. But the name of that paramilitary program was ALERT, which stood for Air Land Emergency Resource Team. Pretty good. I mean, that's not bad.
They are.
Pretty good naming convention. But yeah, I mean, being in Life Focus, it wasn't, I mean, yeah, it was traumatizing. Solitary confinement was super traumatizing.
Yeah,
the brainwashing was a lot, you know, but I also, like, I was hanging out with other dudes my age. I mean, we were doing manual labor all the time, but like I was still around other guys my age, like made some friends while I was in there.
They're probably more normal than...
Very much so, dude. Oh yeah, we were fighting each other all the time. Like we would get into fist fights constantly. We were hazing other dudes for snitching on other guys in the group. I mean, it became very much a prison experiment, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, the program itself wasn't that overly bad. It was just the brainwashing, the solitary confinement, and the guilt that they put on you. Like, you're so bad. You're such a bad person. You need to repent. You need to come back to the Lord, because having a girlfriend is, you know, capital sin type shit.
And I'm sure you still carry a lot of that subconsciously, or...
I was thinking about that the other day, man. I definitely did after I first got out of the cult.
Yeah, I shouldn't just say something
for
like
sure.
that.
Well, no, I mean, you're not wrong. No, you're not wrong, man. I think all of us carry a little bit of that with us, and you can never really get rid of it because it's so deeply embedded, you know?
I mean, people have trauma from not being brainwashed or just you know, smaller shit in childhood, so I can't imagine, like, even the first time you had sex or something, you'd be like, this is wrong. Like,
I'm a virgin.
Oh,
so
my bad.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Sorry about that.
But no, you're absolutely right. Like, just the guilt complex was overwhelming. Even I struggled even having a live-in girlfriend for a long time, because it was like, well, we're living together in sin. We're not married. This is adultery, and people are going to know. You know, which is bizarre and doesn't make sense, but that was my mentality for a long, long time. I think I've gotten past, I would say, most of it. I'm sure there's still, you know, remnant shit. But I also did a lot of drugs when I got out of the cult.
Yeah, so let's talk about getting out of the cult.
That deprogrammed so well, dude.
Yeah, that's true. You life hacked that one. So
honestly, if nothing else is working, if therapy's not working, try heroin. That might work. Maybe that's your golden ticket. I mean, ketamine obviously works. We know that. DMT, great. Mushrooms, incredible, right? Heroin, if nothing else is working,
dude,
give it a shot. No, I'm kidding. It's awful. It's a monster, and it will make you homeless. Oh yeah. I did everything.
Tell me about that first time, because I've heard it's amazing. My parents listen to this podcast, so guys, I'm not gonna do it, but I have.
Oh, he's gonna do it, Mom. We're gonna do it right after this.
I have always wondered what it felt like.
It's so hard to explain. Another comic buddy of mine, I think, explained it perfectly. It's like all those times your parents didn't tell you that they were proud of you and that they loved you. All those times, it's like all of that hitting you at once. It's just like, I love you, I'm proud of you, all at once. Just like the feeling, imagine the feeling that you would get from that in outer space, flying through the cosmos, getting licked by 1,000 gorgeous puppies at the same time. It's incredible at first. Yeah. And then fast forward a few years and it's not incredible anymore at all. And you're just doing it at some point not to feel sick.
Yeah,
it's not even to get a high anymore. It's just so you don't feel sick.
Dude, maybe on my deathbed.
Yeah, if you get diagnosed with something terminal, do it. You'll love it. And I mean, they'll probably pump you full of it anyway.
That's true.
In a hospital bed, if you're literally dying, yeah, they're going to give you something.
Why not?
And just request, I would say, either morphine or ketamine.
So ketamine is actually used for therapy now.
It is, which is crazy.
Have you done that?
Oh, yeah. And I did not use it for therapy.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, probably any of these substances could be used in a helpful way if you're doing it in the right context and you have someone that's administering it correctly. But when you're just snorting up anything you can get your nose on, probably not the right setting or context or environment for that. Yeah.
You're sober now, right?
Yeah, I've been sober for 11 years.
Gang.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't know if it's gang.
I'm a majority of 3 years over here, so.
Really?
Yeah.
From everything?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't do anything else, so alcohol was my...
Oh, alcohol was your big thing. Not even California sober? Not even puffing on the devil's lettuce?
It doesn't really do
jazz
it for
cabbage?
me. Doesn't do it.
Does it give you panic attacks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever
I'm one of
paced in
those
circles
guys.
for 3 hours because you got too high?
Yeah, I'm checking my pulse the whole time.
Yeah.
And I get real concerned about my pulse. Like pretty much hyperfixate on my pulse.
That's so funny.
So I'll be checking
walking around.
Yeah, I'm checking my wrist.
Oh, this is bad, guys. Oh, man.
Then when I had the Whoop, I was like triple, I had it going live on my phone.
Nice.
And it's just not that enjoyable.
That's not a good time.
And then I had the blood pressure machine, so I'd hook that up and I'd start taking my blood pressure. And then that would read super high.
Dude, you were just triaging yourself, like emergency room triaging yourself every time you got stoned. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I legitimately, one of the panic attacks that I had, and don't get me wrong, I would smoke all the time.
Oh, so you're a pussy too.
Huge. Absolutely. I have told people I wish I could be California sober. I really do.
Me too, dude. I want it more than anything.
I'm just not built that way. I'm built for real drugs, adult drugs, not this pussy shit. But yeah, I had a thought during one of the panic attacks. Oh, what I'm feeling right now, this is how homeless people become homeless. They smoke too much weed. They can never think right again. Their brain doesn't work correctly ever again. And they have no choice but to be homeless.
Yeah.
And that was a legitimate thought. And I convinced myself of that. And for 3 hours, I was like, well, I'm homeless now. All right. I better find a box and a cool part of a bridge. Yeah. that stuff did not agree with me at all.
Yeah, I mean,
mushrooms are cool though.
Yeah, I am interested in mushrooms.
Microdosing. Yeah.
So will you do that stuff now or no?
I don't.
So
I don't do anything.
If you dabble, you're going.
Yeah. That's what I'm worried about.
That's what I'm worried about.
You know what I mean?
Like microdosing, yeah. For the first week.
Why would I want to just microdose?
Exactly.
This feels good. So what if I did a hero dose?
Yeah. Exactly. Like if I just know myself well enough that like whatever I do, if I like it, I'm gonna go hard with it. Whether I use that for my own good or whether I use that for evil. So yeah, I don't think micro anything. That'd be telling me like have half a glass of wine a night. Like,
no, that like my friends would do key bumps, right? Like what are you doing? Pour it out on a glass table and let's actually do drugs. What is this? What you can't even do you even feel anything? And that was the first drug I ever did too.
Coke?
Yeah, that was the very first drug I ever tried.
Jeez.
Before, I mean, aside from alcohol. But yeah, before weed or mushrooms usually people start like, I'm going to try some plant-based stuff, do a little, psychedelic.
Yeah.
Nope.
Coke.
Just straight into blow.
That's one I'll never do because, that parlays into the things I love, which is doing, talking.
Talking a lot, having business ideas.
Yes.
Yeah, being able to read people's minds. Yeah. All of it. Yeah.
So
it's, once again, I look at people that legitimately need like Adderall, for instance. And to me, once again, I think everything can be used therapeutically. But even that shit's like so dangerous. Like when I got sober, I was no longer doing street drugs. I was exclusively drinking and doing pills.
Really?
That was it.
Still
so I
selling?
thought I was fine.
Still selling pills?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah. I did reveal that to the world, didn't I?
You did, man. You did.
Yeah. I was doing that. I was doing a bit of that. But yeah, I wasn't doing the hard drugs anymore. It was Xanax, Adderall, OxyContin, and drinking.
Dude, I did love Xanax.
Oh, well, you have anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the best thing for anxiety.
I felt like I was floating on a cloud. Nothing could touch me.
Yep.
And then I didn't remember anything that happened the previous day. Like,
did
when
you
I
ever
would
drink
wake
on
up. No, I never did.
Oh, buddy, you want to talk about an experience and not remembering anything,
bro? Should we relapse tonight?
Are we about to do Xanax and get wasted on IPAs? It is Austin,
dude. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. My experience with drugs. Yes, it was. It was soul crushing. And that's one of the reasons why I don't dabble with anything anymore, because that is a feeling, a lifestyle that I never want to go back to, because it was so brutal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I learned a lot of things while I was doing that that I actually do appreciate. I really, truly do. So I don't think I would go back and do it any differently, quite honestly. Maybe not take it quite as far as I did. Maybe instead of, getting sober in my late 20s, like get sober in my early 20s. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think I wouldn't have hit a deep enough rock bottom for it to stick.
That's the thing.
Quite honestly.
Yeah. And dude, don't be a total nerd.
Right.
Getting sober in your early 20s.
Yeah, that's some pussy shit.
That's pretty nerdy.
Yeah. Oh, you were addicted to weed? My bad. Didn't. But no, different people have different experiences, and for me, I really had to drag the bottom before I was ready to try something different.
Did you really get stabbed?
I did. Right. Yeah.
Was that during your drug usage?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think I even talked about on that episode that I didn't feel it because I was smacked out at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it was an ex-girlfriend. And she did go through my phone and found, I don't even remember what she found.
She was an ex at the time of the stabbing, or she was?
No, she was still a current at the time. Well,
the stab was when
that's
you
a
guys.
Great question, actually. I honestly don't know. But yeah, dude, I don't really remember what she was upset about. And I fell asleep, I guess.
Oh my God.
Just nodded out. And she was still there and decided that I needed to get cut. And she did. And I don't remember it happening. Bro, I have no recollection of her cutting me. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up and I go to get out of bed and my sheets are like stuck to me. And I was like, why are my sheets stuck to me right now? This is weird. And I pull them away and it hurt, bro. And I started bleeding really badly. And I was like, what is going on? And she's in bed with me, by the way. She stayed.
Dude, this is
she
crazy.
cut me and then stayed. And I look at her and I was like, why am I bleeding? And I was like, and she goes, this is so funny, dude. I was like, why am I bleeding? And she goes, oh, you got cut. I was like, how did I get cut? And she goes, I cut you. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, I went through your phone and you weren't listening to me and you just fell asleep. And so I cut you.
Oh my God.
You're toxic and I love you. But yeah,
that's the hottest thing I've ever.
oh, it's so hot. But yeah, so I mean, I had a lot of experiences like that.
Oh my god! Dude,
I mean,
that
I
had
was
me in tears.
this scar on my eyebrow, like that's not something that I do with the razor, like the kids these days. No, I literally got in a fight that I didn't mean to get in, but it was a dude whose girlfriend I was about to take home. Apparently, they were dating or something. They were together, and I didn't know it. And she was going to come home with me, and he chased us out of the bar. And when he confronted me about it, I was just like, oh, I don't know what to tell you. He was like, that's my girlfriend. And I was like, that's crazy. She's coming home with me. That's wild. And he wanted to fight me, and my buddies were trying to get me away. And I was like, no. If he wants to fight, we can fight. And I don't remember any of this, by the way. They had to tell me. And then apparently I just stood there and let him hit me full force in the face. And of course I was wearing sunglasses because I'm a badass. And the sunglasses just shattered and like sliced me on the eyebrow. I have no idea what's going on. I turned around to my buddies and I was like, that guy just fucking punched me. And they were like, yeah, you said you wanted to fight. And I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't want to do that at all. But I legitimately woke up the next morning, no recollection of, I think that was actually a Xanax and whiskey night, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
Woke up the next morning, no recollection of what happened. Wake up, walk into the bathroom to, start my morning routine. And I look in the mirror and it's just blood, all blood. I look like Carrie. I'm covered in blood. And as I'm looking in the mirror, the only thought I can have is, oh my God, I'm dead. I'm a ghost right now. And I'm going to haunt my bathroom forever. This is great. But then I washed my face off and it was just this tiny little cut that had just bled all night without me realizing it.
Dude, don't you miss it?
I don't miss any. I got hit by cars, bro, running across street. I got thrown out of a Denny's for fighting in the bathroom.
Were you doing comedy back then?
No.
You really can't, right?
When you're that messed up all the time, I was in bands. I played in bands.
Okay.
So I was semi-able to do that. But even, I got kicked out of every band that I was in, even the bands that I started. I would get kicked out of those. Yeah, because I was just a hot mess all the time. Yeah, it was not good. I've got some great stories, like some really funny shit that happened, but ultimately it was just tragic.
Yeah.
It was really fun, exciting, cool in the beginning. And then after the first, I would say like maybe 3 or 4 years of heavy substance abuse, it just got really dark really quick.
And then you feel like you're just trying to stay alive. Like I know Bieber talked about that in his documentary.
Oh, was he addicted to weed? I didn't know Bieber was.
I don't think he was addicted to way worse than weed.
The Biebs was?
Dude, the Biebs, yeah.
Bro.
He literally had his bodyguards wake him up at night so he could take more shit so he wouldn't wake up feeling, And then he would have bodyguards that had to check every hour to make sure he was breathing.
Whoa.
Bro, Biebs is harder than we think.
He's hardcore, dude.
Yeah.
And now he got Haley pregnant?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, way to go, dude.
Yeah.
Good job. You dumped in her, bro.
Dude,
proud of you.
Selena's not going to like that.
Well, she's with that producer now. What's his name? Benny Blanco or whatever it is?
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I know this much about pop culture.
Does wonders for you. Like Benny Blanco.
Yikes. Yikes. But so talented.
Oh, yeah.
So talented.
We love you, Benny.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
nothing but respect for Benny. But bro, work on your face. It is rough.
Yeah, and your height.
That's and your height. Yeah, wear some lifts, bro, for God's sake. That is a face that you have to be famous or extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah. It's my first height joke that I've ever made at 5'10".
You're 5'10"?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you can't say anything about people's height.
Dude, it's 5 double digits, though.
Doesn't matter. You're not 6 foot.
No.
No, that's all they're looking for on the Tinder profile.
I know.
Yeah, you're still sub 6, bro.
But, well.
You're going to be so unsuccessful forever.
Fuck. That's why I need the pod to blow.
Yeah, you do need this. This is like your one shot.
Dude.
No one can tell how tall you are when you're sitting down. We look the same height.
Yeah.
But what people don't know is I tower over you. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Good thing I do that editing.
But seriously,
once
again. I do. But
once
it's
again.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to take a photo after this, but I'm going to stand on something.
I got to take a quick break to go cry in the bathroom real quick.
All right, let's talk about oh, damn it, now I tried to use a big word and I don't know it. Reintegrating?
Yeah.
Into the real world. So what's decision day look like?
It really, the decision happened when I got back from the rehabilitation program.
Okay.
That's when I decided I don't want anything to do with this anymore. This is all insane. No, I'm good. That's a 3, bro. You're doing 3s?
Bro. Carry on.
Huge pussy. Once again. No. No, I need to back off from the 6s and hit the 3s. Oh, we go upper lip?
Yeah, man.
This guy's hardcore.
You go lower?
Yeah, always.
Oh, that makes me about pass out.
Does it really?
Yeah. Huh. If I go lower, it gets all... I got a saliva issue I'm working with right now. Where...
What,
Fuck
like
your cult story, bro.
less... Like you're less juicy than you need to be, or too juicy?
Too juicy.
Oh, you're too juicy.
I got this like thing under my tongue that swells up, and it's a ball. It'll grow like real gnarly looking.
Bro, that's fucking
like
AIDS, dude.
I was
You're
gonna say,
about
it's
to
kind of
die.
like an STD. But my stepmom is a dental assistant, so I FaceTimed her. We're good to go.
Okay.
So yeah, just if I go lower, it fills up with sweat or not sweat. What's it called? Saliva. Space.
I can't stop sweating from my mouth. You mean salivating? Bro, this girl got me sweating in my mouth.
Something in my mouth gets real damp.
You have mouth hyperhidrosis?
Dude, yeah.
Have you tried shooting it up with Botox?
Bro, I put deodorant in my mouth every morning to try and antiperspirant, obviously. To try.
You're just eating Old Spice.
Oh, so now you got to bust out the.
Yeah, but it's a 6 because I'm a man.
Dude, let's be honest, we're still addicts. Look at us.
Dude, I'm
caffeine. And,
I'm drinking the highest caffeinated beverage I can find.
Yeah.
While cramming nicotine into my mouth. Yeah, dude.
Dude, we're just trying to feel something.
I just want to feel alive, bro. That's why I do comedy.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, dude. Fuck the cult again.
You want to fuck the cult?
Yeah, let's fuck the cult.
Yeah.
I asked this from a place of someone also desperate for attention while doing a podcast. What is it that first of all comics and all podcasters are sober?
That's so true. Well, the good ones.
The good ones.
The good ones, yeah.
The good ones.
Well, with some exceptions, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
Mark Norman, incredible.
Yeah.
Absolute booze hound.
Yeah. Ron White now, though.
He's sober, but he smokes a ton of weed.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Theo Vaughn, though,
Theo. That's
fully sober. All the way as far as I know.
your boy Craig. He's sober.
Yep. Craig
Yeah.
Conant's sober. Yeah.
I saw him in KC.
Did you really?
Yeah. Are you like boys with him, or I just saw?
Yeah, we've done some stuff together.
Not Bert Kreischer, but he's
No.
not good. So
He's what?
He's not good.
Bert?
So,
Dude, he is the people's champ, right?
he's an
Like,
entertainer.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's my thing about comedy. As a comic, I try so hard to make like these very smart, intellectual, complex, funny stories, right?
Yeah.
Bert, he just wants to make he doesn't care what's making you laugh as long as you're laughing.
Yeah.
And so he'll tell the same story every single show, The Machine, right?
Right.
He'll make these dumb dick and fart jokes, but there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
It's working, and people appreciate that, and that's why he has such a massive fan base, because he's just, I don't care. I just want to make people laugh. And if this makes you laugh, if this fucking toilet joke book joke makes you laugh, I'm going to tell it.
Yeah, I'm not hating on his success. I'm hating on his jokes.
You just don't like that particular brand of humor. But
Right. It's not for me.
most people are very, very dumb. And so if you just dumb down the humor, you're going to appeal to a wider audience.
Yeah.
I just need to make way dumber jokes.
You're batting up here.
Not even, dude. I'm very middle of the road. Because when I first started doing comedy, I was like, I'm gonna make smart jokes. It's gonna be all like highly intellectual, and in a room of 50 people, like half a person would be laughing.
Yeah, that would be,
And that's depressing.
that'd be rough.
Yeah, it is. It is. So it was just like, oh, okay. Well, when I talk about dicks and farts, they laugh really hard. So I'll make intelligent, highbrow dick and fart jokes.
There's a reason every comic talks about like sex and
It's relatable, dude.
yeah.
But now comedy's even more different now, where it's less about the audience coming to hear jokes, and they're more so coming to have an experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's shifted pretty dramatically.
And what do you mean by experience?
They want to interact. They want to be part of the show.
The crowd work.
The crowd work.
Dude, you do
bringing people up on stage.
Work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like it takes a certain skill level to be able to do crowd work effectively. And I think it also takes a specific type of person. But, you know, some of the great crowd works, obviously Matt Rife, incredible.
Right.
Renee Vaca is a genius with it. Alfred Robles, incredible crowd work. You know, these are guys that, Big J, dude, Big J Okerson.
I don't know him.
Whoa. His crowd work, he'll do a whole hour with no written jokes.
Schultz.
Schultze. Well, Schultze really started it.
Yeah, Schultz.
I mean, that's the man.
Killer.
All the crowd work clips that we see from every comic
he did
now.
Start that,
He started it.
Because he got on TikTok early. And
Yep. I did too, actually. And then I stopped doing stand-up on TikTok because a bunch of other jealous local comedians made fun of me for it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Isn't that just fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I got banned from it ultimately, but still, you know.
I could be in the studio with someone famous right now, and you fucked it up for me.
Literally, bro. But I wouldn't be here if I was famous.
Dude, come on.
You know what I mean?
It was a pretty good email I sent you.
That was a solid email. It got my attention.
The subject line.
Blazik? Yeah. How am I not going to respond to a guy named Blazik? That's crazy. You're literally one of the dodgeball players from that movie with Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller. Wasn't one of the names the Blazer? It was Blazer. Blazer.
Okay. Blazer.
Yeah.
See, I never met another Blazik, but
no, I've never met a Blazik. I've met Blaze, but it wasn't their real name.
So you gotta do something to figure out how to become
Is that like
famous.
a family name?
Nah, my dad just made it up.
Was he high?
Nope.
Fully sober.
Low-hanging fruit there, by the way.
I'm gonna name my kid Blazik.
Yeah.
He's gonna be so popular.
Well, he might have had like a couple beers in him, but
couple beers.
Maybe.
Maybe some of his friends were like, you know what'd be cool?
Yeah.
Is if you did like Nick, but Blaze first. That's where Blazik.
Oh.
Right?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's foreign. I don't know if
I
this
believe
is like,
that he wasn't high.
You want to believe that?
No, I believe it.
Yeah?
I can say this, Grandma, because my grandma listens too.
Your grandmother
Dude,
listens
real
to this?
solid like family support going on.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Your grandma?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about heroin?
Yeah.
In front of Granny? Yikes. But she probably has a medicine cabinet full of the good stuff.
You want to talk about assistants? She was a pharmacy assistant.
Whoa.
Or technician, I think.
I want to say I probably robbed your grandma at some point.
Fort Scott, Kansas, man.
No, I didn't go there.
Nah.
No, absolutely not. No, when my grandmother passed away, she had, a stockpile of painkillers, dude. A stockpile. And not because she was abusing. This is just what was prescribed to her. But my mom had a gallon zip bag of painkillers. And as she's like talking to me about funeral arrangements, she's pouring Dawn dish soap into this gallon bag. No. He fills it with water because apparently it just, I don't know, zaps all the oxys or something. I don't know if that's a real thing, but that's what she read. And I'm just like, no, I could sell those for so much money.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyways.
So yeah, where I was going with that before I got sidetracked was, what do you think it is about comics, podcasters that make us want to do this shit?
Man,
not that it's not fun, but like there's a draw to it.
There is, and it tends to draw really traumatized people. I don't know if it's like our form of therapy.
Oh, because we get to talk stuff out.
Yeah, I know that's part of it for me. I think we also have this need to be liked.
That's me.
The validation, right? I mean, there is no better feeling than stepping onto a stage in front of 200, 300, 500 strangers, right? And making them all laugh.
Where they're like, where you're having to stop the set because you need them to stop laughing. I'm sure that's a crazy feeling.
It's like a fat hit of crack, but better. It's wild. Like, I always tell people, like, having been a musician and now doing comedy, it's two very different art forms, right? Both performance art, but very, very different. And the primary difference, ignore the fact that, you know, as a comic, you're on stage by yourself, whereas when you're in a band, you've got all these other guys. You can be, as a lead singer, I was 3 sheets to the wind at all times while on stage, right? But I knew my band was behind me, and if I forgot lyrics or, you know, had a sudden, I don't know, meltdown on stage, they were still playing the music and I could recover, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that as a comic. It's just you, right? But the main difference to me is the energy that you feel from the crowd. When you're on stage with a band, the energy that the audience is giving back to you is like very chaotic and all over the place, right? It's just everywhere. When you're a comic on stage and it's spoken word, all of this energy from these people in the audience is laser focused on you, and it's just like this constant, like right in your chest.
Yeah.
You just feel it, and it's intense, and it feels so cool. It's the biggest adrenaline rush.
You get that every time still?
Every time. Every single time I can feel it. And I can connect with these people individually, one-on-one, whereas with music, you don't really do that.
Yeah.
You're not connecting with individuals like that. Sometimes you can.
What does bombing feel like?
I wouldn't know. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, ask some of my friends. Ask Justin Governal if you watch it. No, I'm kidding. No, Justin's great. But, I mean, I've had sets that didn't go so well, you know, and that's a sucky feeling.
Yeah.
But really for me, what a sucky set has done is just given me this insane motivation to do even better the next time. Like, I need to get on stage right away again so I can crush, because I don't want to feel that anymore. Right. I've been so lucky. I mean, obviously there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of writing that's gone into it. And I've had some really, really cool opportunities, but like all 3 times that I've been on Kill Tony have been crushes.
Yeah.
The first one was meh.
Second
one was insane.
Dude.
And the third one was not quite as good as the second one, but still like just leveled the room.
So do you get pretty big like Instagram jumps after Kill Tony?
No.
Really?
No, not just from Kill Tony.
Really?
It's if a clip that you post, not that Tony posts, not that, you know, other social media outlets post.
Probably, do they?
They will kind of sometimes, but you can't really rely on even a tag. It has to be like a collaboration, right?
Yeah.
But if you post a clip that goes crazy, which the Down syndrome joke went crazy on my social media, then you will get followers from that. But
Okay.
there is no organic, like, oh, millions of people watched this episode, and now all those millions of people go and follow every comedian.
Yeah, and I'm not, even if we're playing 1/10%, you would think like 1 million people watch Kill Tony, or several millions.
Oh, dude, the last episode, the Trump and Biden episode, I want to say it's up to like 8 million views now. Insane.
So we'll just kind of take it down because you were on the show.
Yeah.
We'll put it at 3 million.
Sure.
It's like you would think a decent amount of people would be like, he crushed, he killed, let's go follow him. But you really have to be like a repeat guy, huh? Like a regular.
Yeah, and that's what I saw after the second and third time I was on. I was like, oh, I've seen this guy before. It's really cool to see him grow.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. It wasn't a growth. It was just like the joke that I did the second time I was on, the Down syndrome joke.
Yeah.
That was a brand new bit.
Really?
Yeah, like I specifically wrote it for Kill Tony.
So that was the first time you did it.
Second time, yeah. And which is also why I messed up the joke a little bit, but no one noticed because it just crushed so hard.
I didn't notice.
But yeah, I think like you have to deliver a certain type of material in front of Tony's audience. Like you go up there and try to tell a smart joke, they will hate you.
Yeah,
they will hate you unless you're a guy like Raul Sanchez, who's just so brilliant that people. I mean, that guy.
And if you're
insane.
a decent speaker at Kill Tony, you're not gonna. Not many people go up there and can actually communicate.
That's so true.
Bomb.
They just get weird.
Yeah, they
and
get
just
weird.
Suck
people
during
that,
the interview
but that's
portion.
probably comedy in general.
Yeah, probably. Although I've seen like some of my buddies have been on Kill Tony, bombed the minute, and then bombed the interview too.
Really?
And they're good comics, like good comics.
Do you know Laugh with Matt? That's his Instagram
No.
handle. I saw
think I
him
do.
at a bar. I try and hit like a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
And he was really good, but he kind of bombed on Kill
Did
Tony.
he really? That
And then
sucks.
And I was like, dude, that's just crazy because I saw him do those exact jokes, but they were completely different. Like, it's probably just a lot of pressure, which probably throws off your timing.
It
your
is intense,
tone.
dude. You walk out on that stage, it's intense. I don't get nervous when I do comedy. I don't get nervous before I go on stage. I don't. I get excited, but I don't have like that pit in my stomach.
You just get like
the anxiety. No, nothing.
adrenaline. Oh, okay.
There's adrenaline for sure as I'm walking onto the stage, but I don't get nerves. Doing Kill Tony the first time, it was just like, oh fuck.
Because this is what I think about. For me, I get so worked up over anticipation.
Yeah.
So do they have you behind that curtain for the whole person before you?
Yep. No, not necessarily the whole. Usually, you hit the behind the curtain right before the interview. That's
And
usually.
you don't know when that's going to end.
No, you have no idea. I was lucky the first time because I was very nervous, and I don't get nervous, and so it was a very foreign feeling. I was like, "What is happening right now?"
Yeah.
But William Montgomery was backstage, and I know William. I've performed with him before, and so I saw him, and we just talked. You know, while the goofball before me was doing their interview.
And they were
so we just
bombing,
talked, and
right?
by the time I got out there, I was just like, I'm good. I'm gonna crush this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so awesome.
And I saw Pauly Shore on the panel the first time, and I've performed with Pauly before too. So it was just like, oh, I'm in good company here.
What's like your coolest memory from comedy?
Dude, after the second time I was on Kill Tony, I got invited to go to Mitzi's afterwards, the private bar at the mothership. And I've been a few times since then, which is really cool. It's just an incredible experience every time. But that particular time after my second performance, I'm in Mitzi's, and Ron White walks into the room. I'm just like, holy shit, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is the legend, right? I've listened to Ron White since I started listening to comedy. He walks into the room, I introduce myself, and he goes, "Hey, that was great. You did great." And I was just like, I'm gonna come. It was like, that was for me the highest level of validation that I could ever possibly get.
That's
it was so cool. Ron White telling me I had a great set was just like, oh, well, I can quit comedy now.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any better than this. But it does. Like, there's so many. I just did my first headline spot at my home club. I'd headlined a lot before.
Nice.
But this was the first headline spot at the Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club in San Antonio. And I did that show. We sold a ton of tickets. And I knew probably like 80% of the people in the room. And that was really cool too, that like I have this supportive community around me that rock with me, that want to see me succeed. And that was like a really cool feeling too. So it just keeps getting cooler and cooler.
Yeah.
I did a theater show, maybe a month ago, probably a few weeks ago. And it was literally a Spanish language comedian. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Sofia Nino de Rivera is her name. Incredible. But she does her show all in Spanish. It's a Spanish-speaking crowd. Her people reached out to me to open for her. Two-man show, or man and woman show, right? Just the two of us. Reached out to me to ask me to open the show. And I was like, I'm not bilingual.
Yeah.
Like, I'm barely lingual. Like, I can almost not speak English. But they still wanted me to do the show. Do my set in English. They were like, it's fine. You'll do great. They'll love you. I was like, okay. And went out there and crushed. And that was the coolest feeling, knowing that this is not an audience that I would typically connect with.
Yeah.
But I still did, in a room full of people that are there to specifically see Sophia.
Right.
Right. And they're still being sat as I'm doing my set, and I'm still able to connect with them, still able to make them laugh, still able to have a good set, to the point that Sophia was like promoting my shows after the fact. Which is so cool. Like, really, really cool.
Because that's when you know you made like a real like impact. Because you can ask people to promote for you or whatever, but it's just like, do good work. Like, like that. At the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. Just go be funny.
Be
Just
funny.
go be funny. Do your best and be funny.
Yeah.
But I've also had some like really, I mean, dude, I'm still like on the inside, I'm still this like nervous, naive, no world experience cult kid, you know? And so like I don't get nervous before I go on stage, but like when I'm talking to other comedians, the constant question in my head is just like, do they like me? Am I being annoying
Like
right now?
imposter syndrome.
Like, yeah, very much that. Yes, imposter syndrome is the best way to describe it, because it's just like, I shouldn't be here right now. They probably hate me. I'm sure they just want me to leave. You know? So I'm just gonna sit outside the green room and I'll just go do my set, because I know Mark Norman doesn't really want to have a conversation with me. There's no way.
Yeah.
But in reality, they really do, and they're just trying to connect with you as another comic. But yeah, that imposter syndrome in the back of my brain is just like, you don't belong here.
Yeah, man. There's like this. Like on one of my first episodes after I moved to Austin, I was talking to this guy, and we were talking about fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
But it's not faking it. It's just you are it, and then you make it. So it's like you don't have to try and impress these people and be funny. It's like you are that.
Yeah.
So there's no need to be having that imposter syndrome or anything. Like I watched him perform Friday. Him as in you.
Oh, yes, me.
I kind of sometimes
Blazik was in the building.
Yeah, but we dapped it up before the show, and he didn't even know it was me.
I didn't, dude. But it was dark in there.
It was
It was pretty dark.
a little.
And by
dark.
that I mean there were a lot of black people. No, I'm kidding. It was just very low lighting in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were actually more black people than I thought initially. I thought it was
Every
just
comic
two,
loves
but-
to go on stage and be like, "There's no black people here."
Oh, good. No one's going to shout during my set. Cool. No, that's also a joke. That is very much a joke. There was a guy in the front row, super cool, very like, I mean, just a huge muscular black dude, and he was one of the guys that I was talking to.
Yeah.
And he was really, really cool. He was with his Latina girlfriend, so I knew we were going to be able to relate. He was like, "Oh, you are dating a Latina, so you also live in constant fear." Cool. All right. Bet. Yeah.
Shit, what was I gonna ask you about comedy? I don't know, man. I'm going to the mothership tomorrow, though. First time. I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've never been before?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Going
Who
to
you gonna
Rogan
see?
and Friends.
Rogan and Friends.
I
That's
don't
a
know
good
how
show.
I got the ticket. I just saw him post, and it was like 30 seconds ago. So I got him yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah,
The Rogan and Friends shows are super fun. I've been to one of those. I've gone and watched Kill Tony live a couple times.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great experience.
I can't get Kill Tony tickets there
No.
unless you got the hookup.
Well, I don't have the hookup. More popular people than me have hookups.
Yeah.
So that if I ask, I can sometimes get invited.
Oh, dude, I think I was about to give you a compliment, and then I got distracted.
What compliment were you going to give me?
So I went and saw you the other night.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we started talking about black people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
oops.
Please proceed with your compliment, Blazik.
So, yeah, like you stepped on stage and just like owned the room, like immediately. And then when you got off, like I saw everyone like whispering, like, "Oh, he was good. He was good." So, like, you're that dude,
Man,
There's-
I think half of the success, well, half of being a good comedian is being funny. The other half is having the confidence, having the stage presence, being able to command a room. You have to, because you're asking these people, please listen to me so that I can make you laugh.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how funny you are. There are some rooms where it works, right? Like if people are coming to a comedy club specifically to see comedy, then that could work where you don't have any stage presence and you can just make people laugh, right? The show that we did on Friday, it was a very cool show, awesome room, not at all what I was expecting.
Me neither. When I walked in, I was like, "What the hell?
What is this?
Yeah.
Why are we in a bank building right now on the 11th floor?
But that's the second comedy show in Austin I've gone to where I'm like, "What the hell's going
This
on
is
here?"
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're just doing comedy everywhere in Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is the Mecca right now. But yeah, I mean, in a room like that, you really have to be able to command attention. It's important. And I mean, there were a couple comics you saw that weren't able to do that, and even though they were very, very funny, they weren't getting the reaction that they really deserved.
It was a pretty good lineup though, and for what it was, you know. I was pretty impressed because I've been to some bad ones here. So.
Oh, dude. Austin, I love you. I love how prioritized comedy has become in Austin. It's very, very cool, right? but there is so much trash comedy in this town too. Just every open micer trying to start their own club, their own produced shows that just suck.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
It's probably that LA effect where it's like, oh, I want to do this, so I've never done it before, but why not go start in Austin? Where
Might as well give it a try, right?
Where I can get up every night.
Dude,
and,
there was a guy that he went on Kill Tony, and I think a lot of people have like the mentality that you do, where it's like, oh, if you're on Kill Tony, you should have a fan base automatically. You don't.
Yeah.
This guy did Kill Tony, didn't even do that well, and then basically set up a tour for himself.
Whoa.
Yeah. That tried to do some shows in San Antonio. Dude, it was bad. I'm not gonna say his name or anything because I don't want to embarrass anyone, but yeah, it was not great. It was not great
Dude,
at all.
it's hard to grow a fan, like, I hate calling it a fan base, but like it's hard to grow like a support system because you can put out good shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, especially with, I mean, probably comedy actually too, now that I think of it, but like podcasting, I'm asking someone to listen to an hour, 20 minutes of us talking.
Right.
It's a pretty big ask.
Yeah.
Pretty big ask.
It better be very compelling.
So that's why my clips have to be fire. Like when I do, and I'm starting to learn that. I used to edit to get it out there.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, wait, this has to be just as important as the guest, just as important as the podcast. It's right up there.
Quality is key.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to listen to a couple of dudes just bullshit for an hour and a half.
Like we look like the people don't want to listen to us talk.
Oh, like douchebags. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean,
if you tuck that chain in, I wouldn't mind, so we could.
I didn't even know it was out.
So we could actually like change the thumbnail and not get a you know what I mean?
Yeah. The pompadour isn't doing us any favors either, though.
Dude,
Blazer.
that's okay. Well, first of all,
how much gel does that thing require?
Not much.
All right.
Sensitive subject though. But
Well, stick around, folks.
that's on the after
subscribe
show.
to Blazek's Patreon to learn more about why he's so cripplingly insecure about his hair.
Yeah, I just shut down.
You did, dude.
I think that's a good ending point.
Just rip the parachute.
Oh, Davey Jackson, where can we find you?
Dude, everywhere. No, primarily just on social media. I mean, it's usually, I think it's all at Davey Jax, DAVEYJAX. I think YouTube, where I'm assuming this gets published, it's like with 2 X's because someone else stole my name.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't have that problem.
No one's going for the Blazek.
Nope.
Yeah, no,
Nope.
It's just you.
Just me.
But yeah, and I do shows all over the place. I don't know when this is going to be coming out. Next Monday?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. So just follow me on social media and check shows, and got my own podcast, and we just have a good time. We're just here to have fun, you know?
We're just here to have fun. Hell yeah. All right, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.